I think we are all right. Does not close caption with. Oh, interesting. Alrighty, I think we are good to go. First off, welcome back to MTV TA, guys. My name is Trent Manager. Welcome back all my returning patrons and, of course, all my new viewers and new patrons. Welcome. Thank you guys for chiming in today. We are closing in on the end of the month, having a little bit of a rebound. Looking all right yesterday in the markets, and then today we're looking pretty all right. Not out of the woods yet, though. I'm not 100% confident, but at least it's always good to see a little bit of some pushback and some rebound. It seems we've really kind of gained a little bit of control, which is awesome. But alrighty, guys, let's go over some quick housekeeping. What we are going to go over today, what our agenda covers. I know I got a little bit more tabs open than our agenda covers. Just we're going to be bouncing around today. So we're going to go over Mexican billionaire pushing his first bank in Mexico to become Bitcoin's first real major bank in Mexico. He's one of I'll have to remember his name. We'll be going over the article, but he's one of the top 15 richest people in the world. I know that, but in Mexico, he's like number 2. We're also gonna be over JP Morgan, CNBC, Fox, etc. Man, these guys can't make up their mind. I know if you've been here a while, or even if you're just here, you cannot rely on mainstream media at all to give you any sort of accurate coverage on this space. So I think most of you guys already know this, but these guys are just sending you X, Y, Z, left, right, up and down. It's just absolutely ridiculous, and these guys don't know what they're talking about. We've talked about what they want us to do, but we'll definitely cover that when we get back to it. Awesome, and also we got all countries where Bitcoin is being adopted. We got a nice list of that. We're seeing kind of a big little tidal wave on that. We got Panama, we got we got El Salvador, we got some in, I know Africa, we can't even forget about Africa. Africa's having like a whole revamp now in terms of like their technology upgrade. They're moving into like a whole industrial different era, which is absolutely crazy. So we're going to be bouncing back and forth between South America and Africa, because those are some two major continents who are getting a major upgrade in terms of their monetary system, which is going to be awesome. And also, we're going to be going over Morgan Stanley exposed to about 26.5. I'm not sure if they do this out in shares or their whole exposure, but almost 30 Bitcoins worth of Grayscale Trust, and I'm pretty sure that's just kind of branching off of it's not an ETF, but it's just shares of the company that owns Bitcoin, so they're getting the same performance. They're not just getting the whole performance, like holding the whole asset though, which is the big difference between buying trust and versus actually buying the asset. So, alrighty, guys. Got the housekeeping out of the way. Going to our first article. I don't think we have any videos today either, but that's okay. I know it's been a little slow on the videos. But Fiat is fraud. Mexican billionaire pushes to make his bank Mexico's first accept Bitcoin in overnight. Tweetstorm. I did not actually go and look at these tweets. That's maybe something I could definitely do off. But apparently he went on an absolute rant, which is absolutely hilarious. I know. If you guys sorry guys, I'm having a tough time talking at meetings all this morning. If you go back in our earlier videos, I know we talked about how Michael Saylor this was a while ago, that he was covering conferences with billionaires and other CEOs and CFOs in his space and pretty much all around the world, pretty much giving them the full shakedown of blockchain technology, Bitcoin, and their monetary system. And a lot of those guys took away good from that information. That was a little while ago. It seems like ages ago. That was only about 3-4 months ago. But that meeting that we had talked about a while ago with Saylor was huge for a lot of these guys. A lot of these guys have either had cold feet, they have never done this before, this is their first dive in, and they need something that's going to not persuade them, but give them the instincts to go and attack this sector. So this was a little bit ago. So actually here's a video right here. That's freaking awesome. Let's look at that. So it's in Spanish, of course, but
mucho estudio.
Oops, so sorry. It's nothing crazy. We won't watch the whole thing, but I just wanted to give you guys a little insight.
Es un activo que tiene valor internacional, que se cotiza con enorme liquidez a nivel mundial.
But just give you a little quick insight on it. This is Mexico. This is our guy. Went on a Tweetstorm. For those who don't follow Pomp or follow any Twitter advocates for cryptocurrency or investors, developers, whoever they may be, I highly recommend. Twitter is a great source of information in terms of this space, which is awesome. But wrapping this up, guys, I mean, it's great to see that not only we're making that spread from country to country, but you got people who are really getting the education down and seeing it come around. We know monetary system is not what it should be, not how it would be, without alternative methods that we can do, which is exactly what we're talking about here. I say it often, but the making money is great in this space. It's awesome, but truly it is the technology, at least I'm here for. I know that I can't speak for everybody, but truly it is a technology we're here for, and in terms of having another monetary system. So really great to see on that. We'll keep up on that and see how this continues to go. But he is really pushing in his key points. I look at more than a dozen tweets about Bitcoin, and 65 years old, Yeah, wow. It really is. It's crazy to see. We never would have thought this would have came around so quickly. But moving on to our next article, we're going to see all our countries where Bitcoin adoption is currently, occurring. This is a little bit old. This is from June 8th, but still very much relevant because a lot of these countries have not actually had legal tender. El Salvador's not even legal tender just yet, but they're getting ready for that transition. So we know El Salvador's here. We know Paraguay is here. We knew Panama was here. Brazil was a new one. I know we talked about that last week. Brazil getting their first, I think it was their first Bitcoin ETF approved and ready for stock market trading. So it lists on the NASDAQ for that, which is a phenomenal, so great to see. Let's see, after that, we got Mexico, of course, now coming into the mix. Argentina, we knew about just a little bit, but you can see pretty much all Latin America is getting some major adoption. And this is something I like to clear up also, is because, this great news isn't always replacing our price action, really showing us, hey, we got all this news and this isn't showing in the price. Like, what's going on, Trent? Well, if you really think about the time that it takes for the transition to happen over, and these are continuing to happen, and even before I get ahead of myself on that, let's think about the monetary system. And I have this talk often, is because if you live in a first world country, you live in America, you live Europe, you live anywhere, where you have a bank account, anywhere to where you don't have to worry about how you're going to pay for your bills or your groceries, etc. So, you go to Panama, you go to El Salvador, you go to Argentina, you go to Brazil. Most people don't know this. Majority of people don't have bank accounts. It's not super common on there to say, hey, I got Bank of America, or I have whatever our local legislative branch is. That's not usually how it goes. And, that's where the disconnection comes between first world and, really seeing how people really live around the world. Like, you are very, very blessed to be in the situation you are. Of course, every country has its problems, but let me get back to the main point, is that the basic luxury that you may think whipping out your debit card and paying for something is not a luxury for everybody. So the idea of this being implemented and have a monetary system for a lot of these individuals is life-changing. So not only do they have their first ever actual money that is earned to them, but also they are able to spend that accordingly. So that's definitely where something I wanted to kind of branch off real quick and not cover too much on that, because we talk about that a lot. But I know we get a lot of new people and influx of individuals who come in here and may not understand exactly how the technology is changing everything around. So, and also covering even more, we have our North American Bitcoin mining index. We knew that the hash rate in China was getting kicked out by their miners. Sorry guys, I gotta touch the camera every 10 minutes or else she'll go into sleep mode just real quick. But really going back to our article here, we knew that China's being forced out. They forced their miners out. We weren't sure exactly why they were doing this exactly. Very odd for China to really be so resilient and really crack down all of a sudden. But hey, it's good for Bitcoin, and we talked about how that was. It gets the hash rate out of China, gets things distributed across the world, and makes a better push for us to not only utilize that more renewable energy, but also providing more jobs in that sector. Really push. We talked about this too, is that I think that this is going to push off the electric vehicle and the green sector oracle space pretty hard. Like, you utilizing this technology and these mining equipment for renewable energy, so miners using 90 to 95 to almost 100% renewable energy, that's just going to push the incentive even further, to continue moving green and, continuing the solar green race. And I think me personally, I think that's going to be a big tip off for us, not even just the United States, but around the world, because, it's crazy how more open places are about Bitcoin mining. So you see how Texas, we talked about also how their blockchain laws, them becoming more loose in terms of wanting miners to come to their state, use the renewable energy. It's sunny here in Arizona and Texas. We get a lot of sun, and those wind turbines, if you've ever been to Texas, if you haven't, there's a ton of wind turbines and a ton of solar panels everywhere, just like they're here in Arizona and Texas are like the top renewable states in the United States, and I think in the world. Arizona's top in the world for using renewable energy from sun, wind, etc. It's truly amazing, and I think people neglect that quite often. I think that's something that shouldn't be neglected. So, and also going over some quick tweets. Nothing too crazy. If you don't follow Documenting Bitcoin on Twitter, I really recommend it. They always have some really good updates in terms of how far we've come throughout just the 6 months to the years. Been following them for well over a year and a half now, seen so much progression. But 14% of financial advisors said they used to recommend Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in a recent survey from more than 500 advisors. That's less than 1%. It was less than 1% last year, and that is 100% true. So our sources here, we got from the Wall Street Journal. Saving for retirement, now you can bet on Bitcoin. We also talked about the linear affect, the opposite of how supply and demand, really what drives a lot of these, pushes for higher prices, the halving, and also you have, when you have limited supply, 21 million, versus 7 billion people, not everyone's going to be able to have barely even half coin, 0.28, etc. That's definitely something I need also like to reiterate too, is because I think some people often forget the supply and demand shock factor, in terms of that. When you have something that cannot be owned by everybody and it's very limited amount, it's going to drive scarcity, and I think you guys understand basic economic class. So but hey, I always got to be a little extra because I know we got a lot of new people and this stuff takes a little bit to grasp. It's not just one day, 3 days, a week, a month. It's a year, couple months, for you to really, grip all the information you personally want to get out of this. Absolutely. And also going over to Ethereum addresses activity, I thought this was really interesting yesterday. I didn't even notice this. A good coworker of mine said this to me yesterday. So Ethereum addresses actually for the 24-hour time frame flipped Bitcoin's addresses for active addresses in terms of, both products. So we knew about the hash rate. We knew that some mining rigs are coming back online. That it's getting, what's happening now is really just a mass distribution of the hash rate. We know that we're still in a proof of work system, having these coins mined through, GPU CUDA cores and algorithms. But I thought this was really awesome. So, if we go over to here, if we pull over CoinGecko even, we can even look at our price action just today. It has been, pretty good day today. Ethereum's having a phenomenal week. Had a great day yesterday. Pretty much had a great overall week. Bitcoin not even too bad either. 24%, 6%, 15% on the 7-day. Looking okay. Like I said, we're not completely out of the woods yet, and we're gonna go over some other metrics and news. That's kind of gonna back us up on that. But really great to see in terms of things continuing to stay strong, and just because there's not, the news isn't always reflecting the price action doesn't mean there's still not great things going on. I also thought this was great on my Patreon too. For those who didn't see the tweet yesterday, and for those who aren't in the Patreon, I'll give you a little sneak peek. So this tweet yesterday from Baylor Laundry, I thought this was freaking awesome. CNBC told you to buy Bitcoin at 60K. Now they tell you to sell at 30K. When all these clowns understand that this is an accumulation game. Price doesn't matter. I really like that because I'm going to be ultimately truthful. Like, it really is about a store of value and holding something that you can get a hedge against, our older gentlemen who are not doing our monetary system very many favors right now and actually making things a bit worse for us. So that was a really good tweet I like to really throw out there because that's by far one of my favorite tweets, top 3 for sure. And also going over to some more Twitter from Bloomberg, key Fed official, Coral sounds very bullish on some stable coins. We had kind of talked about this. The government has been very out of the loop with us in terms of really keeping us up to date of how they're feeling. We know that a Bitcoin ETF in the United States may not happen in 2021, but they have another 60 to 80 day review period, and they have to make a decision, I believe, in those 60 to 80 days. Now they're on their, I think, 3rd or 4th push off, and there's only so many times that you can push that push off. And I know Kathy Wood, that we talk about, hedge fund manager, ArcInvest, also filed for a Bitcoin ETF, for hers to get filed. People are pushing these things on the desk. Like, they're saying, hey, you guys got to review this because we're getting client demand. There are people saying, hey, man, like, you hold 50 million, 100 million of my money, and, I'm not liking exactly these returns. I need something else to diversify and get me a little bit more ahead. Everyone's always looking for another hedge. That's why they're called hedge funds. That's exactly why these guys do this. They take bets on technology, fintech, anything that they believe in the future is going to provide real world purpose and continue to change the way that system may or may not have, included, its overall functionality. So, which is super. Hey, that's exactly where we're moving, which is great. So you guys can kind of see now the more every week I feel like these guys get more educated. They get better and better. What they're talking about, what they're saying, how they're governing it. Of course you're always gonna fight something that's new. But do you remember just how short months ago we went from, oh my gosh, like, no big money's touching this, to, okay, like, now let's start making these incorporations in our business, like, it's pretty great. It pretty is awesome to see. And also, people, I did forget about this, NBA, MLB, and esports, with Brady, and all those guys, the FTX marketing team. FTX is they're a trading platform, by, man, what is that guy's name? He's he was on Forbes. He was one of the youngest crypto billionaires in the world. I think he was the youngest crypto billionaire in the world. I think it was, I'll have to find him. I completely forgot. I'm spacing out on my guys. But you guys know that Miami Heat Arena changed their name, their FTX Arena now. So that's exactly where that came from. We talked about that a couple weeks back. But really, Tom Brady's on it. There are a lot of other key athletes. Let's see if they list any of the other key athletes. But they're attacking Major Baseball, NBA, MLB, esports. There's a good chance you will see some more crypto-related sponsorships in terms of, on jerseys or team buildings or, big sponsorships and commercials. Like I've already seen like Coinbase ads, like Kraken ads, like really, good size exchanges. Like, also I saw a Grayscale like trust commercial on the Suns game yesterday. It was actually crazy. Like you just didn't see those things, a couple months ago or even a year ago, 2 years ago. Like you would have never seen an ad for Coinbase on live TV on a broadcast to millions and millions of people. So I think this live stream was more of a kind of a respit of kind of how we're really moving forward, and that even if we've had an okay day in price action, I don't like I said, I don't think we're out of the woods yet, but you're seeing just how much more news we bring every day. And like I am digging a bit harder now, but not really, because like these things are still talked about, like even with work, like for those who don't know, I'm a blockchain software developer. So what I do for work, just because price action is down doesn't mean we stop working. That just gives us more time and more ideas to publish into our protocols and our ideas, and make this technology and this ecosystem more user friendly for when things do heat up once again and we continue to move forward, because things do happen every single day. I got you guys would, if you guys were to call me every day or text me every day and say, hey, what's new, I could at least send you 2 or 3 things new every single day. It's absolutely crazy. And I know it takes time and effort to keep up with a lot of this stuff, and it could definitely be a headache, seriously. And also, I always like to remember this, just like we talked about in the tweet with JP Morgan. So I pulled out a couple articles about, I think we have a collage in the Patreon about this, but I wanted to reiterate because it's important. So we have just January 5th, less than 8 months ago, we had JP Morgan say Bitcoin could rise to $146 long term as it competes with gold. And then now we have June 22nd, 2021. A third of big investors believe Bitcoin is rat poison, JP Morgan says. So how do you go from this to this? Like, oh man, it's crazy sometimes. It really is. Like, oh, it's just so bad. And here's another one. Stock to flow analyst, worst case scenario, could see 130 fade. that's not really bad news, but you just see how these big guys flip, and like how Yahoo Finance is good. I can't trash on Yahoo Finance, but in terms of CNBC, these guys are tough. Even just a little while ago, we had a whole collage of them just throwing out numbers, and they understand that they're the mainstream media, and they can say whatever they want. They can make headlines, and people who aren't 100% understanding of their investment, either they don't understand why Bitcoin is going down or Ethereum's going up, unlike you guys who come here and take your time out of your day to understand the news, and you understand this is a long-term game, and you understand everything new has its fight. This is where they can really shake you out, and we saw that really in the turbulent downturn that we were in recently. I think we're still in a bit of a rut, but we are getting out of our pit. We're working one day at a time to get out of there. So awesome. And then cool, Morgan Stanley also exposed to 26.5 BTC via Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. So we also like to see this too. This is on the metric data, and those are the last 2 we have before we actually wrap up for the day. So yeah, we're actually at 17 minutes. We'll close in before 30 minutes here. We'll be hopping over to the Bitcoin chart and some on-chain metrics. But Morgan Stanley of Europe Opportunity Fund, this is the tweet here. If we go to Neil Jacobs, I believe do I not follow him? Wow, I must follow him on something else. I must follow him on just Instagram or something. Oh crap. Oops. Here. There we go. I didn't click the tweet. There we go. Awesome. So Morgan Stanley Europe Opportunity Fund holds 28,289 of GBTC. So it's phenomenal to see. I think we've talked about Morgan Stanley quite often. I know they don't make the cut is high, but I know we talk about enough of that Grayscale trust in terms of, I guess, who is buying. Maybe we didn't cover it as much as I'd like to last week. Maybe they just haven't. They've been pretty quiet. But it's crazy how these big guys, they'll come out and say these things. And also, by the way, keep this in mind as well. We have the end of the month coming up, and we have a new report, once a month annual report monthly for which companies added what to their balance sheet. So next month is going to be quite an interesting month in terms of how we think July is going to go, and there will be people who will come out and say, hey, we added this to our balance sheet, this is what we believe, and this is how we're moving forward. I'm very well preparing myself for next month in terms of we are going to have a good amount of people who came out and said, hey, we bought the dip. That is definitely possible and feasible. I can see that in a good amount of areas, finance, medical, I think there's gonna be some good news next month. So, and also moving on before we wrap up for the day, just doing our quick little housekeeping, make sure we got through everything. I definitely try to squeeze as much as I can in these videos for you guys. I know you guys got busy days, busy lives, and I make sure that you guys get the most important information to go about your day and show what the possibilities are and how we are looking. Okay, perfect. So we will start over at we'll start over at the weekly, which is fine. So this is something I also really wanted to point it out. Definitely, at least on the chart. We've kept this up for quite a bit now, past couple weeks. So this just labels our resistance levels just from where we fell from. This is the weekly, so every candlestick represents 1 week. So the cool thing is we are closing above our 50 week, which is very, very important. So regardless of this drop, I know that's ugly. I know it looks terrible. This chart is very, very ugly. But in terms of really where we're sitting, this is what you want to see. This 50 week right here, this 50 EMA right here, we are closing above this. I would be concerned if we were closing below this. If this candlestick was closed, if we were closing below this EMA line, I of course we would be in for a little bit more pain. But the sign that we are showing here, in terms of us closing above this 50 and staying above, even just like we talk about resistance levels, punching through a wall that, some drywall that, over and over and over again, you are eventually going to break that, and then that wall will be turned into support. So, and also we talk about, same as well with the number 2 line, number 3 line as well, and even we talked about it not too long ago. I know it's hard to see on the weekly. We'll hop over to the daily in a second. But when we were running up here, let me hop over to daily just for reiteration. I know it's going to be a little wonky for a sec. But really just where if we go over to the corner here, when we were running up, and if we even take these lines, and let's just, extend these out even so it can even make more sense, just for visual learners. Taking these out all the way to where we were. We talked about this not too long ago. These were not true support levels. In terms of how quickly we moved to where we were, this rally was absolutely impressive. Our December rally until, I want to say about in March was absolutely impressive. We didn't take the time at all to properly establish these as support. And that's why we are having this breakdown on the other side in terms of, okay, we need to now work a little bit harder to now completely verify these terms. So for 36, just for future reference, when we do have another downslope in another bear market, which I believe there will be, this will not always be one up forever. We're just having a bearish momentum movement in our wider bull trend, if that makes sense. So we are just having a cool off phase inside our wider bull market. When we do end up going down to these levels for real, in terms of us cooling off for our real market, bear market, 37K might be the low. We're establishing levels to where we may never see Bitcoin at $20,000 again. I didn't think that we would ever fall that low ever again after we blew past 20,000, because that was our previous all-time high for, oh my God, like 4 years or 3 years, previous years. We hadn't broken 30K since 2017. So now we're getting the bar's getting raised in terms of how low is the ultimate low. So, that's something I definitely like to put on the chart here and say, we just got to build these proper levels back up for when, we do have our ultimate push, when we do get past 6 figures and, 130, 150K, eventually as time goes on, when we do have these, nasty corrections like, Bitcoin usually does, we should be okay. That was if you're still here, my gosh, you were, not many people get to experience this. I felt it a couple times, but you guys now have the experience, and this has made you not only your thick skin, but you've probably learned so much in terms of this market cycle. Like if you really stomach this 48%er, you're a real G. I really got to give, I'm right here with you, and I got to give just firm handshakes to you guys for really taking the information and understanding. Keeping your head on straight, because there's just always so much talk and crazy talk and just, oh my goodness, it's just so nuts. And sometimes from people who just don't even know what they're talking about, and just, oh man, it's just so ugly sometimes, on the media side. So that's something I definitely wanted to, point out and spend a little bit more time in the charts today, just because I know it's a lot easier visually, for visual learners than it is, just audio learners. So. Alrighty, cool, and we're gonna hop on on-chain metrics before we get out of here. Awesome, we're gonna stop. We're gonna be done before 30 minutes. That's awesome. Good stuff. Let's hop over to our on-chain metrics. Cool. Going over. Let's see which ones exactly I wanted to show you guys. So cool. Institutions. This is just some T1 scale. We see Grayscale holdings. We're gonna go to Grayscale holdings. Staying pretty consistent. I know they have been accumulating a good amount. Some purpose BTF, ETF holdings. I know these are not exactly in America. I see this is from the 28th. So, we're seeing increase. We're seeing these we're seeing people stack. We're seeing these ETFs get more Bitcoin. We're seeing these institutions continue. It's just very quiet. And, the news just isn't reflecting exactly the truth of what's going on. And you guys know how the media is. That's just exactly how it is. So continue to be your independent thinker and stick to your game plan, and everything will just be completely okay. Because the biggest thing, I think our two biggest issues right now are, not even issues. Like our two biggest assets on our time besides this are time and education. So what do you get with time? You get more education with time. and vice versa. You get it really is a great combo. And let's go over to our addresses. I know we are going, look at active address. Let's see how much we've gone back. Yeah, we've had a pretty big sell-off in terms of, active addresses. Seriously, absolutely. But, we know why of that because of our hash rate distribution. So, but let's see our profit. I don't know if we can do a look at our profit loss even, address and profit. Oh, yeah, we might need to upgrade our plan for that. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. If you guys do actually want to take a look at this, Glass no data is really great. You get up some real term metrics. It's kind of expensive. It's kind of more for traders on that end, but I use it from time to time. I use it more for you guys because it's really great for visual representation and so on. But alrighty, guys, I think that is it for me today. Just making sure we got a double housekeeping check and make sure we didn't have any chats or anything chime in. But realistically, guys, conclusion wrapping up today. I mean, we've had a great another day, back-to-back green days. Not out of the woods just yet. Just giving you my personal what I'm doing. Of course, keeping the dollar cost averaging on deck. Of course, not financial advice at all. I'm just telling you exactly what I'm doing, and we come on here for the news and keeping you guys in the loop because I know how fast these things can change. But I will feel very comfortable when we are above 42K and we're continuing our candle closes above 42K, like around that region as we continue weekly to close higher highs, so next week we close at 38, the next week we can close at, closer to 40, or, we have a good spring and we start closing above, this range right here, this 42 range, that's where I think we can set comfortable because we've seen how fast we can go from 42 to 50, 58. That can take 3 days, 2 days. And also remember how quick the sentiment can change in terms of a blink of an eye. As fast as we were going down and as fast as we rally back up in our earlier months, that can easily happen as well, just as quickly. So just stay at prize, stick to the game plan. That's the most important. Stick to the game plan, and your goals are not my goals, and your goals are not everyone else's goals. Ultimately remember why you're here and why you continue to chime in here and take the educational steps to continue educating yourself, because ultimately the patient people always win. So alrighty, guys, I am done for the day. Like, subscribe, share this with friends or family, anyone who needs this. We will be back on Thursday. Let's see, any video ideas, I'll be putting up polls on the Patreon and so on. For all those patrons, make sure I just say every other day. Just give it a chime in. I know the email notifications were wonky last week, but they should be okay now. Yeah, just give it a check. I'd say every other day, and everything should just, I'd say every day. And if you guys have any problems, of course, just shoot me a DM or email or anything along those lines. And if you find me on LinkedIn, by the way, I hope you guys find me on LinkedIn. Shoot a connection. Don't be afraid for that. I will always connect back every time. Awesome, guys. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day.